And we have apologies, I think, from Councillor Wing. Do we have apologies from anybody else?
No.
No. Okay. Do we have any declarations of interest? No, by the look of it. I can't see everybody, so I'm not seeing anybody declare anything, so I'm presuming not. Roshan, have you put your hand up?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, yeah, you're not declaring interest.
Do I have to?
No. Have you got anything to declare? That's what I'm asking.
I think if it about the car parking, if that's discussed, then as a business owner, maybe I have to. Yes, I'm not sure.
Okay. Right. The minutes. Has anyone approved the minutes from the last meeting? I wasn't here, so people read through them and approved them. Can I get somebody to say that?
I propose Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. And anybody else second that?
I will second it.
Thank you, Roshan. Okay. So, right. The first item on the agenda is Active Ramsgate, and we're receiving an update from the Active Ramsgate group. So I don't know who's providing the update.
That's me. Hello. Hi.
Good. Thank you.
Hi. I'm Sarah Wellban. For anyone that doesn't know me, I'm part of the steering group for Active Ramsgate. Myself and Dr. Cheryl Mvula are the two consultants that work on the Active Ramsgate team, along with Rebecca Smith and others from Thanet District Council, etc. So David Green asked us to, myself and Cheryl, to come along to these meetings. So I think we're going to be taking it in turns, just to give you a bit of an update so that Rebecca's not updating on everything. And to hear from us so you can see what we do. So between us, we'll be giving updates at these meetings going forward. So yes, and hopefully you've got the documents that were sent round. So briefly, I'll just go through that document. So I just started with a bit of an overview in terms of 2020. Obviously, we've had a bit of an unprecedented year for Active Ramsgate. Tourism industry as a whole has been affected. So we've had to be flexible and adapt our activity. And normally, I'd be sitting here at this time of year and telling you what a great kite surfing championships we've had and what wonderful press coverage we've had, which unfortunately I can't do. So we've had to be quite flexible in what we've done for the year. We've even had to dissuade people from coming to Ramsgate, so it's completely the opposite to what we'd normally be doing. But I think despite of that, the team's really pulled together and we've made some great strides in other ways. Giving ourselves a strong offering so that when we can operate in whatever normal is, we're in a strong position to attract people again to Ramsgate. So really, our activity summary, I'm just going to look at from the last meeting that we had, so from September onwards really, and I'll just give a quick overview of activity that we've done. So at the moment, we're in the process of delivering a campaign that develops our brand. So really over the past few years, we've really started to cement Active Ramsgate as a brand in its own right. And so we feel now that we've had the time to concentrate on that. We had a great strategy session with the rest of the steering group, looking at our target audience, what messages we wanted to get across, who we wanted to attract to Ramsgate and that kind of things, which was really successful. And so we're building on that, and that's turning into a campaign where we're going to be looking at more photography. We want to develop the website and look at motivating copy. And really make the website and social media work for us. And we've been working together with the team to do that. So that's sort of kicking off at the moment. And we're really sort of in the process of getting tenders in and seeing who we want to commission as the photographer, as copywriters, etc. So that's kind of where we are with that work at the moment. we have a leaflet distribution campaign that Pair Communications distributes our leaflets for us in key high footfall areas. Again, we had to pause that during the summer, but started again from September onwards. So we are continuing that. So that is in Kent, East London, and South Essex. So the key regions where we want to attract people from. So that's continuing at the moment. And tying in with that, we have a different theme every 2 months. So September, October was walking, which was great actually, because that kind of fits with lockdown number 2, so we can still promote that. So we put out press releases on walking, on our walking routes, social media posts, for example. November, December is bird watching. So again, we're continuing at the moment with, pointing out places of interest where we can watch birds, etc. So it's things that we can work around the lockdown and being able to keep active and keep outside. So we're just working on that at the moment. And again, looking at our website and developing the website, Active Ramsgate, we've been in consultation with a company called Sleeping Giant Media that Visit Kent works with. Again, looking at the performance of our website, how we can best revamp that to work for us, and that's just conversations we're having at the moment. So all of that has been happening sort of on the product development front. And in terms of PR, again, we've had I suppose we've had a successful couple of months in that we've got lots of opportunities, but then we've had to turn them down. So we've got some journalists that want to come to Ramsgate, and we secured 3 different press trips. So 3 different journalists from key regions that we wanted to attract. So again, building on the staycation idea, attracting journalists from the regions that we're targeting with our leaflets as well. So and looking at magazines that are kind of high, glossy, disposable income families that we want to attract. So we had 3 trips all secured, and one was all arranged and about to happen, and the journalist tested positive for coronavirus, so we had to cancel that one. And then lockdown 2 happened, so we had to cancel the other 2. But the good news is that, the hard work's been done, getting them to agree to come to Ramsgate. So as soon as we can, we'll rearrange those and get those down here. Likewise, we had a great feature with BBC South East secured. So Lewis Craven, our celebrity kite surfer, as you will, who broke the record for the highest jump on Ramsgate Sands a few years ago, has been a really big fan of ours. And we had a competition winner, a kite surfer, who was going to come down and have a coaching session with Lewis. We invited BBC South East along to that to come and talk about kite surfing in Ramsgate, talk about how you can do it out of season, talk about it being a COVID secure sport. Again, they were all booked to come in, and lockdown 2 happened, so we had to cancel that. But again, the hard work's been done, and they're really keen to come back, and we're still hoping to be able to do that in December, as luckily that probably gives us the weather conditions that we really like for kite surfing. So fingers crossed that the tier announcement will let us able to rearrange that and have that feature on South East. So watch this space. Then other materials that we're working on at the moment with Thanet District Council, they have enabled us to write a guest blog on their website, and they have a press release distribution service that they pay for, that goes out to several thousand journalists, which they've given up to us for a press release. So working in partnership with them, we're crafting a guest blog on their website and a press release that they will issue with us to their press release database. So we're working that to be issued in the new year. And we've been working on the community ad magazine features, which has just come out in the latest issue. And other sort of activity we've been looking at is using our partnership with Visit Kent. So they have an experience development programme, which gives funding for initiatives to develop experiences and products. So initially we put forward our beach club concept idea. So we were hoping that potentially we could work with Visit Kent to develop that, and use some of their funding to be able to develop that concept a little bit more. However, I think it was not in the right place yet for us to be able to do that. They rejected it, but when the permission has been granted for us to use the car park, then I think we'll be in a better position to be able to do that with them. However, we have been working with them, and we, as part of us being members of Visit Kent, we get to attend training sessions, and one of those was how to develop some programs and experiences that would then be accepted for this funding. So Cheryl attended one of those last week, and with Visit Kent, we're potentially looking at developing a couple of experiences next year based on a paddleboarding theme, and another one on a sort of a natural triathlon, as you were, so looking at forest bathing and wild swimming and cycling. And they're really keen to work with us on developing those as part of our active Ramsgate portfolio, and are quite keen on hopefully giving us the funding to develop those as additional ideas for us. So again, that'll be something that we'll be looking at for 2021. So yes, so I've sort of led on to 2021 activity through that really, but all of the campaign ideas that we have are obviously COVID dependent, and will be finalised in our January steering meeting, but we're hopeful, fingers crossed, that we can still do the kite surfing championships next year. So hopefully this time next year I will be saying what great coverage we've had. We're looking at launching a dog friendly Ramsgate campaign. As I say, we want to develop the active Ramsgate website and social media presence. We'll be continuing our leaflet distribution campaign. We'll be maximising our Visit Kent investment as a Visit Kent investor, so lots of press inquiries and hopefully developing these experiences I've just talked about. We'll be looking at an Activate campaign, which looks at our different 8 campaigns, so bird watching, walking, cycling, etc. All of our 8 offerings, we'll be publicising those. And looking at new activities like paddleboarding. We've hopefully got a cycle-friendly initiative in partnership with Deal, so looking at developing a route along that. So there's plenty for us to be doing. But that just gives you a really quick update, and I'm sorry I've kind of rattled through that. I'm conscious of not taking up too much time. But even though we've not been able to do the activities that we want to this year, we've got plenty more that we have managed to achieve, and plenty more coming up. So fingers crossed we can achieve it all next year, but we're quite hopeful.
Well, thank you very much, Sarah. That was very helpful and informative. I'm particularly keen on the wild swimming myself, but
yes.
Has anybody got any questions that they'd like to ask Sarah while she's here? Oh, okay.
Yeah, if I can, Jane.
Yeah.
Councillor Alban, hi Sarah, thank you.
Hello.
That was brilliant, thank you. Just a quick, at Thanet Council, I'm the cabinet member for operational services, and part of that are the beaches and stuff. So I just wanted to ask you about, you want to progress like dog walking, which is great. But I just asked you to be mindful, obviously, of the Ramsgate main beach during the summer is obviously a blue flag beach, we need to keep away from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was really all of that. I gathered you knew, but I just thought to say. All right, thank you ever so much.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, it's great because we want to be trying to, part of our objective is to promote Ramsgate all the year round, so we're not so dependent on the summer months, and something like Dog Friendly Ramsgate is great because that's exactly what we can do, is focus on those out of season months for those activities.
Yeah, brilliant. Can I just ask one more question, Jane, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, in relation to kite surfing, which I think is great sport actually. we do have a number of complaints in relation for swimmers like Jane who are worried that kite surfers come too close into our beaches area where people will be swimming. Are we taking that forward as part of trying to increase kite surfing and advertising kite surfing, but to ensure that it's safe and that the kite surfers understand that they should stay away from like swimming areas, main beach areas, etc., etc. So again, it's just a safety issue, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we work really closely with Kite Pirates, so they are on the Active Ramsgate steering group, and Graham as a prominent kite surfing member of the, in Kent and wider, is very vocal about promoting safety messages. And as you can imagine, any communications that we put out are absolutely promoting those messages. We work, obviously, as part of our work with putting on the kite surfing championships, we work with the British Kite Surfing Association, and they are up to date. We have regular updates with them, so they're aware of everything that we do to promote kite surfing, and all the activities that we do, etc. So they are more than aware of everything we do, and any rules that change or anything like that, then they make sure that we're informed, as well as Graham will update us on any particular messages that we need to promote to get those messages out. And I know that Graham particularly is quite prominent on social media within the kite surfing community, so he helps us to promote those messages direct to the kite surfers too.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'd just like to mention something here now that Steve has brought it up. Actually, I get a lot more complaints about jet skis down on the Western Undercliff, actually. So, yeah, it's just...
Jane, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sorry, who's that?
Helen Crittenden.
Oh, hi, Helen, I can't see you, sorry.
Hang on. Yeah, oh.
Yes,
I don't know whether I'm on or not. Yeah, I think I'm on now. Following on from Casper Alban, as you said, we get a lot of complaints. Is there anything in particular you can recommend for how we respond to them? Is there any direction we can point them in? We do regularly get complaints all the time. So any advice on what we do with them?
Sorry, I missed the first bit of that. You get complaints from
residents using the beaches, saying, "Oh, they're scared to swim because kite surfers this," and also with jet skiers, as Jane said. But kite surfers, certainly, I've had a lot of those. Do you have any recommendations for how we should respond to them? I mean, we do respond to them, but do you have any particular recommendations?
Well, I would say probably, I mean, you can either direct them to myself or to the Active Ramsgate team, because I think if we pass them on to Graham, he will probably know who they are and know who has been on the beach that day. So he can almost get that direct back to the actual kite surfers. So I'd say either direct me and I can pass them on to Graham, or to the Active Ramsgate team, of which Graham is part.
That's just about what I wanted you to say. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to ask a question? Your hand's gone up.
Yeah, Jane.
Sorry, I thought Stuart had a hand up. He's got a hand there. No, okay. Roshan, did you wanted to ask a question?
Yes, if I may, please. Yes, Sarah, it's about the dog-friendly Ramsgate. That's very, welcoming. I can see more and more people are going out with their dogs, especially our local residents. But is there any way do you actually tell them how to keep our streets clean? I mean, we see, dog foods are everywhere in Harbour Street, High Street, Town Centre, seafront, everywhere. And people are just, leaving the dog foods everywhere. They're just not picking it up and throwing it in a bin. Is there any way we can educate people, or is there any way you can, send messages out to people to keep the town tidy, our street tidy?
Absolutely,
thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I suppose in terms of our dog-friendly Ramsgate campaign, what we would be looking at is when we attract people to visit Ramsgate. So it would be dog walkers coming in from other areas to stay and visit, use the walking trails, perhaps stay in Ramsgate and use it as a destination that is open to dog walkers. So as part of that, we did a survey out to local businesses in terms of what they're offering and what they can offer for local dog walkers. And then from that, we wanted to almost develop a campaign on how to holiday or how to visit Ramsgate safely and responsibly with your dog. So it's part of those messages will be what is on offer for dog visitors and dog walkers that want to visit Ramsgate, but also tying in with liaising with those local businesses and liaising with and when we promote it to the media is those responsible messages about tidying up and cleaning up after your dog, etc. So I suppose yes, while I suppose the local dog walks is a problem, and I'm sure we can sort of work with promoting. When we promote the walking trails, we can send reminders to residents, etc., to make sure that they're being responsible when they're walking their dogs. I suppose this specific campaign is more looking at people coming into Ramsgate, but absolutely when we're talking about walking and when we're promoting to existing residents, we can weave those messages in, whether it's through social media or press releases.
I think we also need lots of bins as well, dog poo bins. There are special ones, aren't there? So I think that those have been taken away. I think Steve, our Councillor Alban, he knows about it. So he's the person for you to lobby in, maybe, to put more bins in place around the seafront, and these dog-friendly areas are. I think we need more bins, definitely.
Well, Thanet District Council won't empty specific dog bins anymore. They've done away with them. They're dual-purpose litter and dog bins.
Right. Has anybody else got any more questions for Sarah? We've exhausted. Oh, Mr. Stewart.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you very much, Chair. Sarah, thank you for that report. I'm just looking on what for us is page 4, I think, or at least at the top of the page. In your paragraph overview of 2021 proposed activity, I noted you've got comments about a themed e-leaflet and an SEO strategy to enhance reach and performance of the website.
Yes.
Are you considering, given the COVID situation that we've got, and it could be a while before we get lots of visitors down here, are you considering filming the cycle route? Somebody with a camera on the front of their handlebars or helmet, filming the route and putting those up as teasers or tasters for people for when they may be able to come down, or is that something I've missed that you might have already done? Thank you.
Well, we do actually. There's a couple of answers to that. I think it potentially could be something that we do as part of particularly the cycle trail that we are going to be launching in partnership with Deal. We can absolutely consider that as part of that activity, and that's a great idea, and I'll definitely take that away to the steering group. We also have a local young filmmaker that Rebecca has put us in touch with, who is in the process of producing us some videos free of charge, which is great news, as he wants to develop his portfolio, and he's going to be producing some videos as part of that, focusing on each one of our Activate activities. So there'll be one for cycling, one for bird watching, one for walking, etc., etc. So there will definitely be videos like that we're hopeful will be developed, and we can promote them via social media, etc. So even if people can't get down for a while, then at least they can have an idea of what they can do when they can.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's very helpful. I'm aware we've got quite a substantial agenda today, so shall we crack on to the next item, which is Ramsgate Market? what's got to be said about that? There's a committee to discuss the way forward for the Ramsgate market.
I can fill in for you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Hang on, I'll put my video on so you can see me. Why is it not doing it? Come on, that's it. And last week, I met with virtually with the town promoter, the new director of land or property at TDC. He's an interim person, very outgoing. He's fine. Had a good relationship with him, and also his surveyor, Andrea Plant, who has been in post for some months now. What I found out was that Andrea had received what's happened is that TDC have decided finally, and Councillor Alban will confirm that Humark as such have been the relationship between them and Thanet District Council has broken down, and therefore they're looking for someone else to run the market in Ramsgate. At the moment, there's no chance of any market, obviously, because of COVID restrictions, and also the preference is obviously to run the market in the town centre. Even though we've tried other venues, it doesn't seem to work, or at least initially anyway. What I found out was that there are 4 expressions of interest. Now, I don't know how strong they are, I don't know who they're from or anything else. In view of that, what I'm suggesting that the council might do is to keep a watching brief. If we are not involved in this process at all, I'm told that by early January that Thanet will be producing a prospectus, and they will be then expecting people to respond to that prospectus. And I think by the end, certainly by the end of February, if not sooner, they will have the shortlist will have ended, and they will make a decision as if anybody will do due diligence on whoever's going to go forward, etc., and they'll make a decision, and then the new operator will start. The sticking point seems to be there's £16,500 which is levied in terms of business rates. So before anybody starts anything with the market, they've got to find some way of covering the business rates money. Thanet at the moment have found themselves with Humark, and they were barely covering it, if at all. And so they'll be looking for a new provider or new contractor to cover that. So that at least, I don't think, from what I heard from Mr. Larch and Andrea Plant, they weren't really looking for a profit. And I've no doubt TDs would like one, but they were certainly looking for the business rates to be covered. My recommendation to you is that we keep a watching brief. We see if any of these expressions of interest are actually solid, if they're any good, and at the same time we take whatever Thanet District Council puts up as a prospectus, and we work a shadow scheme ourselves. So if it comes to pass that none of these proposals come off the ground, either because they can't find the money or they decide not to pursue it, or for whatever reason, that there is some kind of market, and if needs be, the council then can make a decision whether it wants to then put that shadow proposal to Thanet District Council and to take on running the market itself. In my view, if there's a private scheme with private money, which is a fact of private, a market is a private enterprise scheme normally, then the private sector should get on and do it. If they can't, we have to then decide, is it in the interests of Ramsgate to continue not to have a market? And if there is no other provider, should we act as the ambulance service, if you like, and to have our own scheme in place to do it? If we don't put our scheme in, we can be part of the, and they have promised this, TDC, that we can be part of the process. They will consult with us to see what sort of things we would like to see in the market. Okay, so that is my recommendation to you. That puts it as simply as possible. I don't know whether you want what you want to do, whether you want to not bother at all with the market, leave it entirely to TDC, or whether you want to do as I suggest, and which is to work a shadow scheme out, work with TDC and let them consult with us, and then see what transpires from the private sector.
Okay, has anybody got any questions to ask Richard?
Chair, if I can, I'd just like to basically support Richard there. I think you do need to let Thanet District Council go through its process of trying to get somebody in, and for Ramsgate Town Council to be consulted and have a major input into it. And certainly, I would be fully supporting that at Cabinet for Ramsgate Town Council to have quite a large say, to be honest, as to where it goes, what it should happen, etc., etc. Because at the end of the day, you know, it's in our town, and we need to have the best market possible. And I am fully in favour of a market. Let me say that, and hopefully we'll get it back in the high street, because I think that's where it belongs. That's where it should be. And because then everybody can access it. There's no point in sticking it out in a car park somewhere or anywhere else, because people won't use it. So I would certainly propose that we support Richard's view, having a watching brief on TDC, and then if nothing happens, then we come back to us, and then we look to see what we can do, if anything.
Well, yeah, I would agree with you, Stephen, but a couple of other people, Pat, you raised your hand, and Stuart, you raised yours, didn't you?
No, thank you, Chair. I was just going to second the motion if it comes to it.
Okay, so just Pat and Roshan want to ask questions then.
Shall I go first?
Yeah, go on.
These rates, who decides that the stores pay £16,000 a year? Where's that come from, Richard? Sorry. It seems an awful lot of money.
It's always been there. It's the VOA, the ratings body. It's always been there. That's what Humark paid. That's probably why Humark never invested in it. And you'll find that I suspect most markets, wherever they may, will have it, because that's where the valuation. That's what the valuation office say it's worth. Now,
if we only
not having a market, you're not getting any income. So I have no idea. But we can ask Thanet to look into it and to talk to them. Maybe that's something we can talk to them about. Maybe speak to the VOA and see if they can reduce it a bit. But frankly, business rates are a government-based thing. It goes to the government. Sometimes TTC gets some of the money back, but it's not something we can plead on behalf of the market. But I don't think we get very far, frankly, at the present moment. It's just what it is. It's 6,500 to find before you start.
6,500 or 16,500?
16,500.
16,500. But if we only had
16500.
Yeah, no, I've got that now. But if we only had a few stores, I don't understand why it is not based on how many stores we've got and what area they take up.
It's just the total area of the market, and TDC are paying a difference. That's why they've not been happy.
Yeah.
They're losing money on it.
Well, I mean, I support what you say, and at the moment, I think the market could go, if we were opening it next week, at the top of the pedestrian area where it's much wider, and a load of shops have shut down or are shutting down, but that's probably irrelevant at the moment.
Yes,
okay,
there's no Humark. There's nobody.
Nobody.
You've got no market contractor at all.
No, but it would be possible to do social distancing if you chose a slightly different place. Anyway,
I wouldn't like to gainsay on that. I think I'm doubtful, truthful. When I measured it all out early on in the autumn, I really didn't see much of a space at all for it. You've got to allow the space for the stalls themselves are quite wide, and then you've got to allow at least 3 to 6 meters each, and people passing by. It really is very difficult. The trouble is, when Ramsgate, the topography of Ramsgate is the infrastructure of Ramsgate is 18th century, and then whatever you do with it, you've got to work with that. And I'm afraid we're going to have to wait till COVID's ended before we can really get going on it. I'm afraid.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Is
Yeah.
there anything else I can help anybody with?
No, I was just going to say, Richard, I would like to support you and Steve, and I think as Ramsgate Town Council, we should have a big say on this, But I was just wondering, do you know how Canterbury Market actually runs? They run it in a different way, don't they? Can we not do something similar to that?
They will be on the same basis, though. I can find out from Canterbury City Council about how much they pay in rates, but if they're prepared to tell us. But I think you'll find they're in the same boat. But it's a very much bigger council, and they've got a lot more resources.
Because they have every day they have some stalls, don't they, in the city center? And I heard that the traders, they actually take this space yearly basis. And I don't know how much they pay, they might tell you, but I don't know if there's something we can do to our traders and to do that way rather than giving it, us charging them for a certain space weekly or something.
But Canterbury own their site as well. We don't. And neither does Thanet.
I think the other problem is that Canterbury City Council adopt the single trading option.
Can you wait until you chair?
Sorry, Councillor Campbell. I was just adding to the conversation there about the sole trading market stall holders.
You're on mute, Jane. Jane, you're mute.
Thank you, Richard. So we're going to go with your proposal, are we, Stephen, to support?
Can I speak, please? Jane?
I realise you want to speak.
Well, that's why I'm waving furiously for the last 5 minutes.
Sorry, Peter, I couldn't see you waving furiously. I don't see you on my screen.
I think we're talking about £1,650 for a year. That works out at £16.50 a day. Each time the market is on. It's on about 100 times a year, twice a week. It's about £16.50 per day that the market is on. It's on Fridays and Saturdays. Saturdays a waste of space, I know, but it is on twice a week. It works out £16.50 per day. So we've got to get it in proportion.
Thank you, Peter. So are we going to go with the proposal that Richard suggested, Stephen, that you wanted to propose? And Stuart wanted to second.
Yeah, I'll go with it. I'll put that forward.
Lovely, thank you very much. Okay, right, then we'll go forward with that. Then the next item on the agenda is the Visitors Information Centre update. I don't know who's providing that.
Okay, so I can give the update, Chair. So for obvious reasons, due to lockdown, the VRC's been shut, and basically it will be shut until New Year. We'll reevaluate it in the New Year.
Lovely. Okay, that's thank you. And now item 7 is the Ramsgate Town Promoter. I think that's a report from you to receive an update from you, Rebecca.
Yes, just obviously you've had my update, so if there's any questions that raised from that, please let me know. But no, I was just trying to answer the question there that Councillor Ara put forward, which was about the Canterbury City model, and they have a sole trading model, which Thanet District Council doesn't do, and that's up and running. They pay £100 licence fee a year, and then they pay per pitch per day. So they don't have the same rateable. There's no VOA assessment done as they work as sole traders, and so they don't have to pay the £16,500 a year in business rates, and that's the difference. But it's a model that the district council don't have. They don't have a policy for sole street traders, so it's just really to clear that up, that's all. with regards to my report, I'll just go through a few bits on there. The website, I thought it was quite interesting that since August of this year, compared to the same period last year, we're up by nearly 9,000 views. So I think that's encouraging and sort of indicative of the amount of people that have tended to travel nearer and stayed in the UK for obvious reasons this year. The maps have been very much, they've all increased as well. We've had a lot more views, and as you probably aware from reading my report, we launched a new virtual shopping map less than a week ago, in fact, and we've already had 190 views as of this morning. So that's really encouraging, and we think that will help as we move forward into whatever tier we find ourselves in come Wednesday or Thursday, because clearly there are people that have continued to shield but still want to shop locally. So the fact that there's a click and collect and also delivery options amongst our independent traders is encouraging, and I think we've got around 24 businesses listed on that map now, all offering some sort of virtual service. So that is good. We're very happy about that. I mean, obviously, since I've written this, we've now had confirmation that Peacock's has closed or will be closing down, which is another sad week for us and our high street. And on that, I've asked for updates today on the Future High Street Fund applications and the Historic High Street Fund, and still I've not been able to get any further information than I offered in the updates, but I hope to have more information that I can just let you know over the incoming weeks, or via Richard. I don't know, is there anything in the reports that anyone wanted to ask me, or the other reports I've done over the last 4 reports I've done?
Thank you very much, Rebecca. Rashan, you've got your hand up and Pat's got her hand up. Rashan, no? Or your hand up? Pat, no? Stuart?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the report. It's very thorough, and it can't have been easy for you, particularly in the last 7 or 8 months with all the restrictions that you've had to deal with because of COVID. I'm looking at your hyperlocal market idea in Charlotte Court, and it's a very basic question, really. Are you looking at this sort of thing being in addition to, or do you think it would be an option if the main market idea completely collapses? Thank you.
Yes, I think the answer is that I'd like it to be in addition to, so it complements any additional market, even if it is on the same day, if a Friday, for example. I think because they'd be offering very different things, and we'd be able to mix it up every week. It would be we would have these sort of 2 extra things going on in the town that would complement each other. So I see it being something that can stand alone quite well, but it could also complement any business market that we end up hopefully having, and have something in the town by June next year. It all goes to plan. I should say that the procurement hasn't gone out yet from TDC, so it's quite encouraging that there's already been expressions of interest, which is I was certainly surprised when they told us that. So hopefully that's positive.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else got anything? I can't see anybody raising a hand. Thank you, Rebecca. So we're now on to item number 9, which is the Town Clerk's report. Sorry, 8. Town Clerk's report.
Thank you, Chairman. That's the it's a generalist report for things that haven't come up. There is something that I think the council should know, or rather the committee should know, which I know the chairman, Councillor Green, was wanting to mention, and he asked me to mention it to you. If you will recall, there is a proposal for a beach club to be possibly built on the site of the former Lido at Marine Car Park. Marine Car Park, as you know, has had a fairly checkered history in its last few years, with various things happening to it. What we did, Councillor Green and I, we met up with our local architect, Ivan Del Renzio, and he's agreed free of charge to actually draw up a design for us, so that when Thanet District Council go through all their processes and their consultants, that we could present something to them, we'll say, and show them what might be possible. Councillor Green was most insistent, and I agree with him, that the scheme shouldn't be a giant thing from the start, but should be something that could be built on a modular basis, so you can start small and build up, rather than spend a vast sum of money on something that might not take off. The first thing you would put in would be beach huts and things like that, and also to secure the site, because that's really important, and then you'd build up from there. And so that's what Ivan Del Renzio is going to do. When it's available, which I think it should be early in the new year, I will make sure that Councillor Green will probably present it to you. I don't know how long Thanet District Council are going to take about going through their processes. I heard 3 months. That was a month or so ago. Let's allow them a little bit longer, say 4 months. But we will be pressurising them a little bit, especially as today we have heard that left behind parts of the countryside might well be benefit from this new £20 billion fund, and we could therefore avail ourselves of it and make an application in that sense. We would have a scheme, because at the moment we've got nothing to a certain extent to justify the government giving us some money, but with that we could offer sea sports, employment, and a scheme that's worth having, something that might well stand the test of time, as opposed from other things where people do all sorts of things and then they fall down after a few years. So the idea is to create a resilient town with an ongoing thing, and I think this all matches in with Active Ramsgate. It would be a centre for sea sports of all sorts: kite pirates, kite surfing, paddleboarding, yachting, dinghies, you name it, would all be there. And hopefully, if it could start off small but actually build up, it could then produce a revenue to look after itself. So the idea is not to make a profit. The idea is to generate something that's self-sustaining.
Thanks very much, Richard. Has anybody got any questions for Richard on that particular item? No? Okay. Thank you, Richard. Okay, so we now go on to the next item, which I gather is confidential, about contract decisions. Item number 9. We need to discuss the following contracts. Richard, do you lead on this?
No, it's not me.
Chair. Can I just advise that the two contractors need to leave the meeting as we'll be discussing their contracts.
Right. So who is that?
That is Sarah and... Oh, they've already gone.